The next question is, does the amount of money you make reflect what you spend in materials? How much do you spend monthly? In the first month, I made a total of $600, and now I'm going to show you how much I make once supplies are included for June and July, because I've been keeping really good records the last 2 months since I started my business back up. Is how often do you work on orders, and how many hours a week do you spend working on them? Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new here. I'm Kate, and today I'm going to be doing a Q&A all about my Etsy business and my YouTube channel. So I have my questions wrote down over here. I have them all listed out. There's quite a few. I have like 4 pages of questions. So I wanted to write them all out so that they were organized, because I just had people leave them in the comments of my last video. So now I'm going to get to answering them. First, I'm going to start out with some Etsy questions, and then I'll also mix in some YouTube questions as well along the way. And I'm going to cover how much I make on YouTube, how much I make on Etsy, and how much my supplies are that I spend money on, and so what my total profit is for each month. So I will talk about that along the way. Before we jump into these questions, make sure and give this video a thumbs up, and make sure that you're subscribed to my channel before continuing watching this video, so you can make sure and follow along with our family life, and also with my Etsy shop and with my budgeting videos. Really quick, I just wanted to show you guys this exciting new package that I just got in the mail from Erin Condren. This is just a little teaser of their new Hello Kitty collection, and then I'll be doing a more in-depth unboxing in my next video. But here it is, Hello Kitty. They were kind enough to send this to me, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. I'm just giving you a little glimpse right now, but it also includes a planner, and I'm going to be doing a fun giveaway with this once I reach 8,000 subscribers. So maybe even in a video in the next couple of weeks, if I get to 8,000 subscribers, I'll be doing a giveaway on this. So if you haven't yet subscribed, make sure and subscribe to my channel, and you can help us get to 8,000 subscribers. I think I'm only like 45 or 50 away right now. And then once we get there, I'm going to be doing a giveaway with a lot of this stuff. So stay tuned for my unboxing video. I think I'm going to include it in my next check-in. So it should be one of the next couple of videos coming up on my channel. And without further ado, let's jump into the video. And also, just so you guys know, I am hiding a pregnancy bump down here. I'm 33 weeks pregnant today, and still going strong on my Etsy shop and YouTube for now. I might have to take a break here at some point, but I'm still going strong for the next few weeks at least. And that is actually one of the questions. What is the future? What do I think is the future of my Etsy shop and my YouTube channel? And one thing is, I want to continue doing budgeting videos, and I want to continue doing my Etsy shop, but I may have to set it on vacation mode for a few weeks before and after the baby's born. I'm not sure what that's going to look like yet. It just depends how I'm feeling and how everything is going. I know it's going to be a big adjustment, adjusting to having 2 babies at home. I have a toddler right now. She's 22 months. And when the baby gets here, she's going to be turning 2 shortly after. So I know that's going to be a big adjustment for her, and just a big adjustment for our family in general. So I may have to take a short break, but I should be back shortly after, especially on YouTube, because I definitely want to film his birth story, and then also I want to film him coming home from the hospital and meeting Bryn. I'm so excited for those videos. The next question is, what made you start budgeting, and when did you? So kind of to answer that question, and also to go along with some of the other questions, like, let me read. Did you start budgeting before marriage, or did you, and then there was another question, did you start budgeting before you became a mother? So to go along with all 3 of those kind of, yes, I did start budgeting before I got married. I wasn't doing the cash envelopes budget at that time, but I was always very good with my money, and I always had like a budget for myself, but it wasn't strictly like me following a budget like the envelope system. I kind of started that just because after you get married, my husband and I mixed our finances, and so we share one bank account. And when that happens, you have 2 people that could be on 2 different pages. So I think it's important to get some type of budget down. Even if you're not doing the cash envelopes budget, if you at least know that you're on the same page with your husband and that you're both having the same mindset, I think that's really important. Because my husband and I were not on the same page at the beginning of our marriage. And I feel like we kind of fought about that a lot, just about his spending habits and my spending habits. I'm more of a saver and he's more of the spender. So that was kind of hard for me to adjust to because we were both pulling out of the same bank account. But once we got on the same page, everything is great now. Now we're definitely both on the same page more. We still have some struggles here and there if we slip back into old habits, but for the most part, we're on the same page now. And he did not have any sort of budget before we got married. I was the one that had the budget. So that leads into another question is, does your husband budget too, or are you in charge of it and he just goes along with it? To answer that, I am in charge of the budget just because he's not super budget minded. He doesn't care about it as much, but he likes it when I do it, and then I just come up with ideas with him of how much money we can be spending. But he wouldn't take the time to sit down and figure out like a whole budget. He's not really interested in that. So I do it and he likes that I do it, but I kind of am in charge of it and he just goes along with it. The next question is, does the amount of money you make reflect what you spend in materials? How much do you spend monthly? I can't remember if I showed the amount that I made, and that's why someone asked this, but I'm going to show you guys a breakdown. I might just put a picture up on the screen while I'm talking about this, of this page that I'm flipping to. This is for Etsy, and I have wrote down how much my supplies were the last 2 months, and then how much I made in sales, how much Etsy fees were. Everything's broke down, so that way you guys can get an idea of what the real numbers are. So the first month that I started my business was August 2019, so just about a year ago. In the first month, I made a total of $671 after all the fees came out. So I started with $987, and then there was $316 worth of Etsy fees, which would be like paying for people's shipping. The customers pay for their own shipping, and that was reflected in the $987. All their shipping fees were in there, and then when I pay for the label, that is reflected in the $316. And then also all the fees for like 20 cents per listing and those kind of fees that come out are in that $300. So the first month I made $671. And now I'm going to show you how much I make once supplies are included for June and July, because I've been keeping really good records the last 2 months since I started my business back up. But one thing I wanted to say is the most I've ever made in 1 month was January of this year, 2020, and I made $1,600, and that was the most that I've ever made in a month. That doesn't also include like supplies coming out, like buying sticker paper and all that kind of stuff. So that probably would have been like a couple $100s at that point, but that's still a large amount for what I'm making now. It's like double what I'm making now, just because I took a break and now I'm trying to build my shop back up. So now for the month of June 2020, I made $862 after the Etsy fees came out. And then jumping down here, I spent $200 on supplies, so under total income for June, it says $862, which is what I made after Etsy fees, and then I subtracted $200 for supplies. So I was left with $662, and then for YouTube that month I made $257. So my total for the month was $919. So that's what I made for June. And then for July, I made $943 once the Etsy fees were taken out, and then $255 I spent on supplies. So after I subtracted that, it equals $688. And then my YouTube that I made that month was $222. So my grand total was $910. So that's actually pretty equal, $919 in June and then $910 in July. So pretty much right around $900 is what I'm making a month right now. And I am putting a lot of work into my shop. That's going to be another question. So the next question is, how often do you work on orders and how many hours a week do you spend working on them? So I work on either orders or my videos pretty much every day. Sometimes I get a day break here and there, but usually at some point throughout the day, I am doing something related to YouTube or Etsy, and I do enjoy it. So right now it's not a big deal because I actually do enjoy it. It's kind of become my hobby. So right now it's not stressful, but sometimes it does get stressful if I don't have a lot of time for doing other things. But I do take vacations here and there, like for the 4th of July. The $910 I think that I made in July, that included me being gone on vacation for an entire week. So that's actually pretty good. I wasn't working for an entire week and I still made $910. So that's nice. I can take breaks here and there. and I can put my shop on vacation mode if I need to. I do probably spend 20 to 25, maybe sometimes 30 hours a week, but probably rarely. Probably 20 to 25 hours a week. And that just includes me working throughout the day sometimes, in the morning before Bryn wakes up, during her nap time, or sometimes she'll give me like an hour when she's watching a show and I can slip into my office and work, or sit next to her on the couch and edit a video. And then also pretty much every night when she goes to bed, I am working on either Etsy orders or editing a video, or sometimes even filming a video, just because I have to find time to get my stuff done. I probably work like 20 to 25 hours a week, and that's just like a few hours each day, like 3 to 4 hours a day probably. And I do probably work more than that sometimes, just because I enjoy it. Like if I'm making new stickers or if I'm creating new envelope sets, I don't really add that into the 20 to 25 hours because I'm not filling orders or filming or editing a video. But I am still working on my shop, so that should probably be included. So yeah, that's kind of like a vague answer to that question because it varies depending on the week. Another person asked, what would be my first step to start the envelope budget? And for this, I always tell people to start by just tracking your expenses. Don't start by trying to set an amount for each envelope. I would take a month to just track your expenses and see what you spend. You can still be frugal that month if you're trying to cut back, but just see what's realistic for you to spend, because we used to say $100 for groceries a week and really try to stick to that, and now we do $150 a week. And that just became way more realistic for us in an area that we weren't really willing to cut down to $100 because my husband eats a lot of food, and then Bryn, we have to buy snacks for her, and it just wasn't a lot of money for our groceries. Some people can do it even with larger families than us. They can cut their groceries way down, but just the way that we like to eat, like fresh produce and different things, it just wasn't an area that we were willing to cut down further. So it is a trial and error finding out how much money to keep in each envelope, but I would start by just tracking your expenses. Another question I got is, how do I advertise for my Etsy shop? And the only way that I advertise for my Etsy shop is through YouTube. So people will see my stickers and my envelopes on my YouTube videos, and then they will go check out my Etsy shop. But that is the only way that I advertise right now. I have tried to run a couple ads on Etsy, and I don't probably spend enough money for them to actually work. So I don't really have any advice on that because I'm pretty frugal and I don't want to waste money on advertising. But I'm starting to think of other ways that I can advertise, like maybe Pinterest or starting like a blog to post about budgeting. If you have any ideas for me, leave them in the comments. I would love that. But right now, as of now, all I do is my YouTube videos. My next question is, how long did you have your shop open until you started getting orders? And I would say, I think the first month, I think I showed you guys the first month's income that I made, which I might have started my shop the month before, but just not made anything public. And then that month when I made everything public, my first month, I made $671. So I actually started out doing pretty well, but I would credit that to my YouTube channel, and only my YouTube channel, because it did all the advertising for me, and then I just made the videos and people started buying my envelopes. And that was also when I was only making envelopes. I was not yet making stickers. Another question that I got is, what sticker paper do you use? And I use Online Labels sticker paper, and I buy the removable matte sticker paper, just the white full sheets with no slits in the back or anything. And it's around $60 for 200 sheets of sticker paper. But yes, that's the sticker paper that I use. And also I have all of my supplies linked in the description box below. My cellophane packages that I put the stickers in, the hard cardboard mailers that I mail the stickers in, and my packages that I mail the envelopes in, which are these packages. And these come in a pack of 100 for about $15, so those aren't bad. My cardboard mailers also come in a pack of 100. These are what I mail my stickers in, or if I have stickers and cash envelopes, I put them in here. And these are, I think, $35 for a pack of 100, so they're a little bit more expensive than the envelope packages. And then also I have these paper cutters linked in the description box. Pretty much anything I use, my label maker for the envelopes, my printer, my silhouette, so that's all linked in the description box. And that kind of leads me to another one of my questions about how expensive it was to start up an Etsy shop and if it was difficult. I did put a lot of thought into it, thinking, is this going to be worth it? Because the silhouette is, I think, can't remember, between $200 and $300. And then the printer that I got is between $100 and $200. And I'm very happy with the equipment that I purchased, the printer and the silhouette. So if you need suggestions for that, make sure and use the links below. But I was very hesitant at first to put that much money into it. So I started out slow purchasing things, but I needed those kind of right off the bat. And I had to sink some money into that. But as you can see, the first month I made like $650 after everything was taken out. So that went right towards my equipment. And then also, of course, I had to buy my camera. I mean, you can use your phone, but I bought a camera right at the beginning of starting YouTube, probably after the first few months of just filming on my phone. I ended up buying a camera, and my camera, I think, was around $600. So I do have that linked in the description box below as well, what camera I use, in case you're wondering how I film my videos. Another question that I got is, what is your favorite part of owning an Etsy shop? And my favorite part is definitely designing my stickers right now. I'm very into that. And also, every time I get a sale, I get so excited to start making that order. And just the fact that I got a sale in general, the excitement has not wore off for me, and it's been a year. So I don't know, I think it just gives me like an adrenaline rush when I see a sale come through on my email. And yeah, it's very fun. Some days I get no orders, and then other days I'll get like 10, 15 orders in one day if a video went public and people ended up watching that video. And a good tip of how to get more orders on your shop, if you're just starting out, is to run a sale. You can run a sale of 10% off everything, 15% off everything, or you can run a sale of free shipping, $35 and over. That probably has helped me a lot, doing free shipping $35 and over. It can get you some big orders, and then also it can just encourage people to want to buy if they want to buy a bunch of stuff, but they don't want to spend a ton of money on shipping and then all the products that they're buying. So I would definitely suggest trying out a sale. It seems to really help me when I do that. What are your budgeting struggles? This is a good one. My biggest downfall personally is buying stuff for the babies, like clothing and toys. That's my biggest struggle, because I love to buy toys for Ben and I love to buy clothes for her. And I'm not very patient. Like, if there's not enough money in the clothing folder, I'll just spend my own personal money, because buying clothing and buying toys for the babies just gives me kind of an adrenaline rush, or if I'm bored, I'll sometimes online shop. But I have been doing very good right now, and I do use my personal money once in a while for that, but it is personal, so I can use it for technically whatever. So yeah, that's probably my biggest struggle. What is your favorite product that you have made so far? My favorite thing that I've made so far is probably my September budgeting kits, because I love the colors, and also my August ones as well I love. But my September mauve budgeting kit, I'm going to post a picture of that so I can show you guys, but that's probably my favorite sticker that I've designed so far. And to go along with that, someone asked, how do you pick out the colors and designs for your sticker kits? And for that, I do use a few sites. One of them is the Hungry JPEG, and you can pick out design bundles on there. I usually buy 1 or 2 bundles for the month if I want to mix and match them. And then from there, I will use Silhouette Studio, and then I will use the little dropper to match the colors if I'm picking like a solid color for the kit to match the washi design, and I'll just use the dropper to match that up. So that's how I do that. And that is going to be all for this video. I've talked way too much, and I know that I went way over on time. I'm probably going to have to cut some things out. But I'm going to save my YouTube questions for the next video, just because this video got so long. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I answered some of your questions. If you have any more, make sure and leave them down in the description box below, because when I film my YouTube Q&A, I can always add in some Etsy questions as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel before you leave. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!